Why wouldn't you use the things that are obvious to you? Because Street Fighter 6 has more inherent things going on in a moment-to-moment situation since Third Strike. So there's a lot to take in. There's a lot of decision-making you have to do based on your meter, based on their meter, based on your position, like all this shit. Now, even fighting game veterans, people that are, no shit, actual professional players paid at the highest level to be good at fighting games, are constantly mentioning that this game is hard as shit. People are saying this game is way too stressful and it's way too hard. So at a low level, I don't think that's true at all. I really don't. I think this game is very accessible at a low level. But this now is a very difficult fighting game to be inherently very good at. And why are people saying that? Because it was relatively easy to max out Street Fighter V, right? For the most part, the game wasn't super hard to like optimize. And there was really micro optimizations all over the place as the game went on. So there definitely was a big gap between what is a casual player, a mid-level player, a high-level player, and a god, right? There's a big gap there. However, now there's not only all the basic shit is hard to come across and figure out, all the micro organization and micro optimization of moments and damage and everything is going to take forever. There's just so many things to consider, like constantly. What I'm trying to say is that it's fun. That's really fun. In games like Street Fighter V and other games that sort of like you can max out your character pretty fast, it feels like I hit plateaus in those games really hard in general. When games don't have a lot of mechanical complexity to them, I can hit plateaus pretty hard. And I think a lot of people will actually relate in a situation like this. But especially in like SF5, I'll get to a point where I want to like keep playing and I'm enjoying it, but I don't want to. I see what I have to get better at, and that doesn't seem like it's going to be fun because it isn't resulting in anything cooler happening. It's just getting me victories, you know? I like the games that have a lot of shit per character and a lot of game complexity, like mechanical complexity, because there's little things you can feel yourself getting better at, right? I feel like I don't have to just overall I just have to get better at footsies. I just have to get better at just anti-airs. No, all those things are still here. It's just that there's all these other small things that I still can get better at. And every single time I play the game, I feel like I get better at it. I feel like there's increases. There is another fighting game that we played over the past like 6, 7, 8 months that I got back into that I hadn't played in a long time, and I was just trying to grind ranked for a bit. And I felt this exact same way. And it was Tekken. And I feel like Street Fighter 6 mechanically shares an interesting level up feeling with Tekken because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to figure out. And there's definitely a path where you feel like I'm getting better. Yeah, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Instead of like other fighting games where, you know, day one, you're already doing all the really good shit next to all the other people that are doing really good shit that are like the best. And that's kind of, that to me, that's actually discouraging. That's kind of weird to be like, hey, I'm new to this game, and in the first 30 minutes, I am now pulling out the combos and, you know, the setups that the people that have been playing this shit for a year are doing. To me, that doesn't feel right. That does not feel... that to me is kind of discouraging, because at that point, it's like, what do you get better at? Oh, you just need to grind the game. You know? Now it's just, oh, you just got to grind, bro. That's it. Just grind. It's like... And, you know, sadly... It's the one thing that I am not just a huge fan of just sitting here and grinding my ass off. I just don't like grinding for the sake of just grinding. I like feeling micro improvements when it comes to stuff. So, you know, that's one of the reasons I feel why Street Fighter 6 is getting a bit of critique in general of like, why the hell people are like, bro, why didn't you anti-air that? Bro, why didn't you drive impact that drive impact? Bro, you could parry. Like, you realize what you're proposing. You're proposing, like, all of these things that you can do. But, you know, this term is called the mental stack. And I know a lot of people hate that term. But, yeah, there's so many things to consider at any given moment that just focusing on one thing or two things is going to leave other things at a lower priority. So at that point, you might not be looking out for, you know, raw super. You might not be looking out for the raw drive rush or the drive impact or all this kind of shit. And just getting overall like comfortable with all of that and actually fighting back. Oh my God. It's great. It's genuinely fun to see and to feel like you're getting better in a fighting game that allows for this, which is why I think there's some sides of the ship that are like, Jesus Christ, this game is hard as fuck. What the hell are you supposed to do? There's too many things to consider. And a game like this now, where that's kind of what older fighting games were like, you know? It kind of feels like what older fighting games were, to really figure out all this shit, you know? To really start dissecting all these moments and matchups and stuff. And it's fun because, you know, everybody's playing characters different ways. I've seen several people come in. Ken is the most popular bitch in this game. This fucking character is the most played character in Street Fighter 6 throughout almost all ranks, right? From the lowest rank to the highest rank. However, I have noticed people like watching Ken. He's a fun character to watch because everybody plays him differently. There isn't a universal way that Ken is just always going to do the same shit. No, you're getting different interpretations of how people are rushing him down or playing him defensive or doing all this stuff. Like, it's so much fun, man. So because of that, right, the game's hard. The game is difficult to figure out. How do I exactly do this? What is the answer? There's a billion answers. Not a billion, but there's a healthy collection of answers. And yeah, somebody was already saying it, that Daigo has already been saying, because he's playing Ken, which is great. That's like, whoa, that's such a good sign that the character is really good. Daigo was saying that this version of Ken is like the hardest version of Ken there is. And it's just because there's so much optimization. There's so many things you can do. I keep doing this shit, right? I keep doing this because it is like a little bit more damage. It sets up for a juggle, but I miss it by doing that all the time because it's actually difficult to time this like right next to the ground, you know? It's this, but this leads to way more stuff. You know, it leads to way more. Ooh, you know, if I go for the harder thing, I get more reward. Ah, shit, I want to strive for that, right? That's, I mean, I'm not trying to make a joke here. I think it's actually a good question. The inherent concern, because you sparked a conversation. The inherent concern: why don't you just do this? You had all this meter. Why'd you do that? It's gonna take a while to figure out this game. And I feel like anybody that's trying to say that they have direct answers for stuff or have a definitive way on how this game is played, even at a very high level, right? Maybe some people at the highest level get it, but no, like, we don't know. Week 1, bro, Cammy was bad, right? Just for perspective, on my week of Cammy, that character was difficult to use and nobody was using her because her damage was low. That has changed. in 2 weeks' time, that has substantially changed to her now being one of the better characters in the whole game. Fuck. It's great.